Mr. Andrew, are we live in 1C and 9J? And are the screens working over in G40? See some heads nodding over there. Thank you, sir. You'll be our point of contact. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Judge Robert McBurney. I think maybe for your purposes today, I should be number 0 because you are all numbers. That is the way we will be referring to you today, is solely by your number to respect your privacy. But you don't have to call me 0. You call me Judge McBurney if you have any questions. Before we get started with the substance of today's proceeding, I do want to thank a few entities that have made this possible. I know that many of you have been sitting on these hard benches for many, many minutes now. So the first thanks goes to however many of you. I can't see into that room. If there are 200 of you, there are close to 200 of you here today. Thank you for coming down to our courthouse to work through the process we're going to work through today. Thank you also to our jury services. Those are the wonderful men and women who got you seated and situated and have ensured that we have the number of people we need today. Thank you to our IT team for creating the connectivity. We are streaming live so that folks who couldn't make it down to the building but want to watch the public proceedings are able to do so. And thank you most of all to the sheriff's team for ensuring an orderly process today. This was a labor of many days and nights. So thank you to all those who made it possible. I'm going to repeat what I started with, which is for today, we will be interacting with you all only by number. So there will come a point today when I need to get an answer from each one of you. And that'll happen by me saying number 1, and you'll answer. I won't say Ms. Smith or Mr. Jones. And we'll go through all of you that way. It's to respect your privacy. And in connection with that, you all should know that there is media present. The media has been instructed in no uncertain terms that they will be filming only people who are talking. So if you start talking, which you shouldn't do, they may film you, but they won't. They'll be filming me. And later this morning, you'll hear from the district attorney. And she, of course, will be on camera as well. That's it. So as long as you stay in your assigned seats or follow the directions of the deputies, because there'll come a point when we may need to speak with a few of you individually, you won't be on camera, which is how it should be, because right now you are just potential participants in a grand jury that we will be selecting today. Lastly, in terms of recording things, if you are taking pictures or filming anything, it's because you received an order that I signed allowing you to do so. So if you are one of the 200 or so potential grand jurors here today, I didn't sign anything unless it had initials CNN or NYT or AJC. Please don't use your personal electronic device to record anything. That would be violation of court rules. If we see online next week that there was footage of these proceedings, we figure out that it was 041, picking on you, who filmed that, we'll find 041 and say that was a poor choice and there'll be consequences for that. So please don't use your device to record anything. Let the media experts take care of that. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here today to select a grand jury that will investigate whether there were unlawful attempts to disrupt the administration of the 2020 elections here in Georgia. I'm going to unpackage that statement for you all a little bit. We are selecting a grand jury. Grand means big. We're going to be picking 26 grand jurors. It is not a trial jury. It's called a petit jury. It's small. It's 12. This group we're selecting will not be sitting in a trial. You will be investigating. That's the next word I want to talk about. This grand jury is investigating. I won't say simply because it's a very important task. But this grand jury will not be handing down what we call an indictment, criminal charges. This group will simply be receiving information, testimony, documents, and ultimately issuing a report that will go to me and to the district attorney, my colleagues on this bench, where you recommend what should come next in the district attorney's investigation. She's already underway in the investigation. Some of you may have read about it. That's fine that you read about it. But now it's time for 26 members of our community to participate in that investigation. You will be investigating, if selected, whether there were unlawful attempts to disrupt the election. You'll be deciding, did something happen? And if so, in your opinion, was it unlawful such that you might recommend to the district attorney that she pursued criminal charges. You might recommend the contrary, that there's nothing there. It's a recommendation. It will be a report. It will be provided to the district attorney. She will process it, and she will decide what is next for her investigation. But you will be assisting in that investigation as members of our community. That's what this is about. I want to tell you a little bit about what service means, how long it will last, and how it will flow. And then I want you to hear from the district attorney. And then we're going to get into that time where each of you will stand up and answer the one question that I'll have for each of you, so we can figure out who's going to serve on this grand jury and who's not eligible to serve. But first, I want to talk a little bit about the process that got us here. Under Georgia law, the district attorney can petition the Superior Court in the circuit in which she serves to impanel a special grand jury, an investigative grand jury. That's what we're talking about today. And so by the books, the district attorney sent a request to my chief judge saying, I would like you, Chief Judge Brasher, to issue an order that created today, brought us together. But it's not that simple. The district attorney makes the request. The majority of our bench has to approve that request. So we are here not simply because the district attorney said, I want a special grand jury, or the chief judge said, I agree with you, but because the majority of the members of the Superior Court of Fulton County, the 20 of us, so at least 11, said that's an appropriate next step, and we authorize that. And so you're brought together here today. A grand jury consists of 23 active members and 3 alternates. 23, that's why it's command, not heading. This grand jury has been authorized by the chief judge to run for up to a year from today. That's its maximum duration, unless, because of how things are going, I agree to extend it. I'm not the chief judge. I'm the judge who will be supervising this grand jury. Before you all run out of the room, the grand jury does not meet every day. It meets intermittently. It won't start meeting until June. There will be some weeks where you are meeting for 2 or 3 days. There will be some weeks where you don't meet. There will be long days. There will be short days. But it is designed in this way to make it a realistic commitment that you'll be making. It is not every day for the next 365 days, far from it. 1 week, no session at all. The next week, you are gathering for 3 days. You will get at least 2 weeks notice of when you need to come in, wherever that place is, to convene and to receive evidence. And as you're thinking about, wait a minute, I got a job, I got things to do, it will be okay for a grand juror to miss a session here or there. We need 16 to have a quorum, 16. So you can do the math, 23 is much more than 16. There may be sessions where you've got a conflict. I'm out of town, your son's having surgery. We build a larger group so that the important work can continue. We always maintain that quorum. What you will be doing if you are selected to serve on this grand jury is to receive testimony from witnesses who are subpoenaed and to receive documents, papers. This grand jury authorizes the district attorney to issue subpoenas to people and places for information. Those witnesses will appear before you and they will answer questions that the district attorney or her assistants pose to those witnesses. You have investigative authority as well. You will be able to ask questions of these witnesses if you have them. You have subpoena power. You may decide after you hear from witness F that you want to hear from witness G, and you can request that that person be subpoenaed. There may be documents that come to your mind that you'd want to see as part of your investigation. You can request that documents get subpoenaed as well. Typically, it's the district attorney who is leading the investigation, but grand jurors have the ability to, as I said, ask questions of the witnesses who appear before them, as well as to identify individuals that they think would be helpful to hear from. The proceedings of the grand jury are confidential. You are not permitted to discuss what goes on in the grand jury hearings with anyone outside your group of 23 grand jurors. You can't talk to folks at home. You can't talk to people who may say, would you tell me what's going on behind those closed doors? The doors are closed for a reason. Today is the one public day for these grand jury proceedings as we select a grand jury. We don't have the grand jury yet, so it's public. Once that grand jury is selected, you all will be meeting in private. And what goes on behind those closed doors stays there. The only people who could talk about what happened on a given day would be the witness who was subpoenaed. Witnesses are free to talk about it if they think that's in their best interest. But the district attorney's team will not be talking about what's going on during the course of the investigation, much to the chagrin of the media. And the grand jurors will remain anonymous, may not talk about what's going on. But you have some writing assignments. You will be required, as the investigative grand jury, to periodically report to me how things are going. Not meaning this is real interesting or it's too hot in the room, but here's the work we've been doing, and here's where we think we're going next. And the final product of this investigative grand jury is a report and recommendation that is issued to me, it goes to my bench, and ultimately goes to the district attorney. That's the advice, counsel that this investigative grand jury will be giving the district attorney. We listened to all the witnesses, we read all the documents, and here's what we conclude. And that will be an advisory opinion, a recommendation to the district attorney. Now, before I administer to you all an oath that will require you to answer truthfully any questions I may have for you in terms of your qualifications and your conflicts, potential hardship, I've been talking all about this district attorney. She's here, and I want to give the district attorney a chance to address you all as well, should she choose to do so. Ms. Willis? I'll get you set up there, and the camera will shift to there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hold on 1 second. Okay.
May I begin?
You are ready to go.
Good morning. I am Fonnie Willis. I am the elected district attorney here in Fulton County. I will not go over the ground that the judge did. We are very, very thankful that you are here today. We're going to try to make it as short of a day as possible. We'll try to ask questions that are not too intrusive while getting a grand juror that can seek the truth. So thank you for your service and being here today.
Thank you, Ms. Willis. So what I'm going to do now is ask all, how many folks are in, what number did we get to, Ms. Von Kelster?
200.
We got the 200. Amazing. All right, I'm going to ask all 200 of you to stand up. You can join me. Raise your right hand. It's a short oath. All right. You shall give true answers to all questions asked concerning your qualifications to serve as grand jurors. Is there anyone here who does not accept this responsibility? Hearing none, please be seated. So I want to talk to you a little bit about the bare bones requirements of what it takes to be a potential grand juror. And there are only 3. So those of you who are hoping, oh, that rules me out, that's probably not going to happen. You have to be at least 18 years old. You have to be a U.S. citizen, and you must have resided in Fulton County for the past 6 months. Those are the basic statutory requirements to serve as a grand juror anywhere in Georgia. This happens to be Fulton County. There are a few exclusions. I'm going to read through those as well. And ultimately, I'm going to ask you all if any of these apply to you. So listen up, and I'll repeat them towards the end. You may not serve on the grand jury if you are currently an elected official in any state or local government. So if Brian Kemp is here, can't be on this grand jury. If Mayor Dickens is here, he too cannot serve on this grand jury. Or if you have held elective office in a state or local position in the last 2 years. So Mayor Bottoms also could not serve on this grand jury. If you're a convicted felon, or you are under sentence as a first offender, or you are in a diversionary program right now for a felony offense, you may not serve on the grand jury. And finally, if you served as a juror here in Fulton County or a grand juror in the past year, you are not eligible to serve. So keep all those things in mind. I'm going to repeat them again before we go through the I'm able to serve or I have a conflict. Now, ladies and gentlemen, because this grand jury will be investigating a specific situation, the 2020 election here in Georgia, it's important that the grand jury be comprised of individuals who bring an open mind to the process. So I'm going to need you, when I ask you to stand and either announce ready to serve or I've got a conflict, to include yourself in the conflict category if you have already convinced yourself, whatever degree, that a crime did occur here in Georgia in connection with the 2020 election process. Or to the contrary, if you've already convinced yourself there's no way any crime occurred in connection with the election process in 2020 in Georgia, then I'm going to ask you to include yourself in the conflict category. And that's something we'll follow up with you in private when we get to that phase of today. Then finally, what's probably weighing heaviest on your minds, there's this notion of hardship. There are some folks seated in these two courtrooms for whom serving as a grand juror, even though it's intermittently as the way I've described, it just simply won't work. That's a hardship. But hardship is, importantly so, very, very narrowly defined. It's not enough to say, I'm important, or I've got a job, or I just can't be away from what else is going on in my life. If that was the case, everyone could get out of it, and it would be hard to get regular juries as well. It's not easy taking the time away from family and work and other things to be a trial juror, be a grand juror, et cetera. We get that. That's why I started by thanking you first. The kinds of things that the law contemplates would be a conflict such that you're not going to be in the country for 3 months. Of course, you need to document that for us. Or or someone for whom I care, not meaning I like, but I provide care for, my kid, my parent who lives in my household. That person is getting a type of surgery where I will be bedside for weeks with that person. Of course, you need to do that, and we won't stand in the way of that. But if your concern is, look, I've got this job and I need to make money, I get it. But we cannot limit service to folks who don't like their job, or don't have a job, or are retired. That's not going to get us a real diverse pool. So I promise you, we will hear you out on this notion of hardship, but keep in mind the fact that you may have the luxury of a 2-week summer vacation somewhere. We can work around that. That's why we have extra grand jurors. That's why the grand jury is not meeting every day of every week, because we know you have the rest of your life that you need to live as well. So keep that in mind. So in a moment, I'm going to be calling you each by number. When I call your number, I need you to stand, and you're going to say one of two things. You're going to say, ready to serve, which means all those different things I mentioned don't apply to you. You're over 18, live in Fulton County, not a convicted felon, you're ready to serve. If any of those things applies to you, all you need to say is conflict. Don't say, I'm 16. Don't say, hey, I live in DeKalb. Just say conflict. If you say conflict, district attorney and her team and I will be meeting with you individually. We've got a room over off the other courtroom, and we're going to be bringing back each person who says conflict to say, all right, talk to us. The court reporter will be in there. We'll be making a record, but it will be in private. The media will not be in there. It will be Juror X, myself, the district attorney, and 2 of her assistants. And we'll just talk. In the end, so you know, I decide. If you share with us your heartfelt belief that you shouldn't serve and you end up serving, don't hold that against the district attorney. Hold that against me and the law, because the law cabins what I'm able to do to a certain extent. But we will give you a fair and complete hearing as you share with us your concern about why you shouldn't be called to serve. And we need to get 26 ready to serve. But we'll work through every conflict that stands in the way of us getting 26. So if you're number 200, we may not end up talking with you today, but please don't leave. We need all of you as we work through conflicts in our quest to getting 26. So I want to remind you again before I start calling numbers A conflict would mean you're under 18, you don't live in Fulton, and you haven't lived in Fulton for the past 6 months. You're not a U.S. citizen. You're an elected official. You're a convicted felon. You recently served on a jury or grand jury here in Fulton County. You've already made up your mind about this situation, or it will constitute a legal hardship for you to be called to serve over the next few months in the capacity that I described. Now, while we're waiting, you're waiting, while we go through these individual jurors, you'll be free to move about. You won't be stuck right in your seat, but I'll talk about that in a minute. What I'd like to do now is start calling the numbers. Ms. Von Kelsch, in this courtroom, we have 1 through
100, Your Honor.
Well, we're split even, 100 and 100. All right. So when you hear your number, please stand and project. And again, it's either ready to serve or conflict. We try to get through all 200 of you as quickly as we can, and then we'll break it down and start meeting with the folks who have a conflict. Now, I'm going to call your number. No name. You don't need to give us a name. Ms. Willis.
I approach.
Yes. Number 1. It's you. Stand on up. Ready to serve? Thank you. May you start a wave. Number 2. Ready to serve. Thank you. Number 3.
Ready to serve.
We're almost done. Number 4. Conflict. Number 5.
Conflict.
Thank you. You guys are setting a bad trend. Number 6.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, sir. Number 7.
Ready to serve.
Number 8.
Ready to serve.
I don't know. It's not. We go across. Number 9.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, ma'am. Number 10.
Ready to serve.
11.
Ready to serve.
12.
Ready to serve.
13.
Conflict.
14.
Ready to serve.
15.
Ready to serve.
16. That was a ready to serve. There was some ruffling of papers, but that was a ready to serve. Excellent. That was a great first row. Second row, pressure's on. And you're taxing my counting ability. 17.
Sorry, Judge, conflict.
Okay. 18.
Ready to serve.
19. Get my steps in too. I'm not gonna be able to see 20. 20. Thank you, ma'am. 21. 22.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, sir. 23. 24.
Ready to serve.
25. Thank you, ma'am. 26.
Ready to serve.
27.
Ready to serve.
28.
Ready to serve.
Thank you. 29.
Conflict.
30.
Conflict.
31.
Ready to serve.
32. Thank you. 33. Conflict. 34.
Ready to serve.
35. Thank you. 36.
Ready to serve.
Thank you. Weaving and bobbing there. 37. 38.
Conflict.
39. 40.
Ready to serve.
41.
Ready to serve.
42.
Ready to serve.
Thank you. 43.
Ready to serve.
That was soft spoken, but I think it was ready to serve. All right. I want you backtracking on this. 44.
Ready to serve.
45.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, ma'am. 46.
Ready to serve.
47.
Ready to serve.
48.
Ready to serve.
49.
Ready to serve.
50. 51.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, ma'am. 52.
Ready to serve.
Back to the other side, 53,
Ready to serve.
54, 55,
Conflict.
56.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, sir. 57,
Ready to serve.
58,
Ready to serve.
59,
Ready to serve.
60,
Yes, sir.
61,
Ready to serve.
62. Conflict. 63,
Ready to serve.
64,
Ready to serve.
65.
Conflict.
Thank you. 66,
Conflict.
67.
Ready to serve.
All right. 68,
Ready to serve.
69.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, ma'am. 70,
Ready to serve.
71,
Ready to serve.
72.
Conflict.
Thank you, sir. 73.
Ready to serve.
You guys are so far back now. All right, thank you. Way to protect. 74. Those ready? All right, 75.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, ma'am. 76,
Ready to serve.
77,
Ready to serve.
78,
Ready to serve.
79,
Ready to serve.
80,
Ready to serve.
81, 82,
Ready to serve.
83,
Conflict.
84,
Ready to serve.
85, 86,
Conflict.
87,
Ready to serve.
88,
Conflict.
89.
Ready to serve.
Thank you, sir. 90,
Conflict.
91,
Ready to serve.
92.
Ready to serve.
Big numbers now. 93, 94, 95,
Ready to serve.
96,
Ready to serve.
97,
Ready to serve.
98,
Conflict.
99. Last but not least, 100. Oh, you're gonna end on that? All right, I'm gonna make an executive decision. We are not gonna ask any of those same questions of 101 to 200 at this juncture. They are not excused. They should sit tight. But my simple mathematical brain is thinking that we have developed a pretty good set of numbers here. And so we are going to shift to talking with those folks from 1 to 100 who indicated conflict. That's going to require a brief break. Madam Court reporters need to move to that room. It's the other space. But I want to repeat, let me get my face back on the screen so you can see it. 101 to 200, please don't leave. You can be at ease in a moment, but we need to get to work on this group. I just don't think we're going to need to make each one of you stand up and say ready to serve, which I'm sure most of you are, the conflict which some of you may have. While we're on this break, all cameras are off. So it is okay for you to be talking and moving around in general. If you need to use the restroom, there are 800 folks here who can help you figure out what restrooms are, what vending machines are. We are overstaffed right now. And thank you again to IT, jury services, sheriff, etc. So be at ease. But if you are in that group of 1 to 100, don't go too far because we will begin with the lowest number who said conflict. That individual is going to come back in the room with the district attorney or 2 assistants, myself, just talk through what that conflict might be. As soon as we have identified 26 eligible, non-conflicted grand jurors, we'll get everyone back together. And for almost all of you, we'll be done for the day. So it pays to cooperate. When you hear your number called, go with Deputy Bess and meet us in our little antechamber space. And we'll have that conversation. Any logistical questions before we break in that way? Seeing none, I'd ask our cameras to turn off, no more still photos. When we reconvene, media can reactivate. Okay? Thank you. If I knew, I'd tell you.
Jurors, there's a place in the basement where you can get refreshments and hang out.
What's our first number so that person doesn't disappear?
3, 4.
Number 4? Okay, so 4 and 5, please don't go take a break now. You'll be coming first. You'll hear your number called by Deputy Best. We gotta go get set up. If you said ready to serve, now's the okay time to take a break. If you said conflict and you're a single or low double digit number, please don't disappear.
Yes.
Oh, I see. For this. I guess. I don't think it's
He said June, and I heard that, but I didn't know how many days this.
okay,
That was the thing. So I think I'm.
okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, yeah. And yeah, I heard the explanation. Good. Yes. One seat.
We got Jurors 13. All right, just stand by. Don't go to the restroom. You're gonna be out there. Juror 13. Juror 17. Jury 23.
Let's see. So basically, Wi-Fi went down. Seemed 4 and 5.
You got it, this, right?
Yeah.
You want to get me?
Well, let you click it. Oh, go up to the top. You check the checkbox. Checkbox.
That's good.
Yeah.
Three 29. Number 30. Juror 12. Juror 15. 15.
Yeah, this little thing makes so much difference. There is no.
Photos? Anything great?
Not really
No.
average.
Yeah.
It's, I'm gonna send this one with the teams and the one this is not in
It's like,
so we don't have much choice on here.
it's quick.
Juror 32. Juror 32.
I think I got that.
Turn number 33. 38.
One floor.
Testing, testing. Okay. Now I understand that. That's all.
Coffee. You get a headache?
But you know, I noticed that the caffeine was messing my stomach. And since I started drinking this, I don't know.
I drink 2, sometimes 3 cappuccinos a day. But I make it home. So the first one is 20%, 30% caffeine, and the rest is decaf.
No.
So after the decaf,
You're
it's
set.
another turn on decaf. Yeah. So I don't drink a lot of caffeine, but I do drink a couple, 2 or 3 coffees. Are you drinking decaf instead or just not? Like decaffeinated or just?
Mostly because I have one brand that's British black tea. There's only one that's caffeinated. But without going because they coffee.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't, that's the only caffeine I drink. Maybe once a month I'll have a Coke, but just very occasionally.
When I go to the travel to that, so
You gotta get it. Next,
with the bottle.
yeah. What's your favorite taco place?
There's one inside of Plaza Fiestas called La Taquería La Michoacana. It's very accessible.
Good.
It's cheaper if you order out and have different.
They just give you the tortillas. So we're in Lawrenceville Highway. Talk about it.
No, I don't think there's one on American Highway that is on that's it's Roseman Highway. Going north, maybe you know where the car intersection is, where the transit is.
Okay, that's way up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe
Maybe it's no traffic. Maybe it's harder.
it's one shopping center before the corner. The last part is I mean, one of the best because they sell is the best things in
It's good. Beverly tacos in Los Angeles. Really good. We like so the Nunley Moon Farmers Market on Lawrenceville Highway. They have really good El Pastor meat.
Okay.
You know, raw. So you don't have to cook it. That now is a fresh tortillas.
That's good. No. The markets are usually good. So.
No traffic, 13 minutes, that's good.
I agree. Stay this with you on this also. I made a beef chicken on Thursday. And I killed some steaks. So today,
And I didn't see a single person. That's the truth. And girls, they help me.
and this started going. They have the floor here, and you have one frame. And now we can see the
Perfect team.
It's my next day. It's your that's why she worked her nails and everything. Because every time she needed for the house, she was so proud. And I know but this is the box.
Yeah. Good.
No.
Good. So get that.
I think for 3 days. And then
Oh, yeah, right before that, that's the one.
Yeah.
When they were throwing those fireworks, that was right before I moved. Proceedings.
that was good.
Yeah, it was good pictures. 2016.
We look at the first. Went high in the contrast.
That's That's true. Check. I don't like that stuff.
Just remember the silence is all without and you, yeah, Miss Adam. Miss Adam, you can let your phone set down. Ladies and gentlemen, the judge will be back out momentarily, so if you could just silence your phone, when we come back on the bench, just put away all electronic devices, okay?
Okay, that's fine. I gotta mess with the computer for a minute.
We're not, there's nothing's gonna happen for a couple minutes.
Thank you.
But soon. No rush, just let me know so I don't start too soon. Mr. Anjurin, do we? Oh, did you do that? Mess up? No? Oh, okay. All right. Hello, YouTube. All right. So thank you. I'll just cut it short. Thank you for being here. The fact that you were number 65 or 99, even 100 with the conflict, we needed you here, and we appreciate that you were here to let us get a chance to line up 26 members of this investigative grand jury. We have now talked with enough folks who had conflicts and heard enough people say ready to serve that I'm going to read off the numbers of those of you who have been selected to serve. When you hear your number, don't jump up, Price is Right kind of thing, and come on down. Just stay where you are. You, in fact, are going to stay here for a few extra minutes. I'm going to call out those numbers, and I'm going to thank the rest of you. And after I thank you, you're free to go, just like 101 through 200. Those of you whose numbers you hear, like I said, stay put. We have to talk about a few logistical things. District Attorney's team is going to talk to you a little bit, and I have to administer a few more oaths. And then you'll be free to go for today as well. So without further ado, those potential grand jurors who are now going to become grand jurors when I administer the oath are number 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. If you're not sure who you are, look on your chest. The number's right there. 14, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 31, 33, 34, 35. District Attorney's Office, do those numbers align with what you understood the numbers to be? Ms. Willis?
Yes, they did, Your Honor.
Great. And Ms. Von Kelsch, did that match with your team's numbers?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Ms. Willis, any reason I can't release all those whose numbers I did not call?
None from the state.
All right. Thank you on behalf of the DA's office, Superior Court, for being here. You are excused if you did not hear your number. In fact, you have to go.
Stay.
Congratulations. May you swear the American flag is? Judge, where's the American flag?
It's on the YouTube feed.
Oh, but not here.
Oh, well, we could add that if you want to do that, but they, yeah, it should just go sideways.
Did everyone hear that?
If you rode the train or parked in the parking deck, come out first. So not a shuttle person. I didn't know. I thought I always have to mute it when I'm on the bench. I mute it because you get weird reverb. It's clearly different here. Sorry about that. It's all right. I'll re-extend the thanks. It was my bad. No.
So I know that you guys are ready to go. We'll just have a seat and get those, very strong. They can hear you our next time right now. Have a seat, we'll let you know those who's ready, okay? Thank you.
So then what we need to do is still people in there? Okay, is there room for the folks who are waiting for the vans? No? Okay. We need more vans. Well, no, there's like 40 people in here. We'll be at ease.
I need to come back and get the numbers of the seats. Yes, I need to make sure we collect their numbers. For pins, okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. Job well done. Switch hands with you just a second. Thank you. Well, that's good. Okay, so let them get out. So the musical chairs continue. In a moment, if you are not one of the lucky numbers I called, we're going to have you move over to G40 because it's emptying now. And then you'll be able to get from there to your county provided transportation. That will allow those whose numbers were called to meet with me and the district attorney's team so we can take care of a few things. It did, you know. It's just like make true presentments of this and that, but I got both the bailiff one and so we're good. Okay. Do we know who our bailiff is going to be? No. Probably Sarge. Okay. Thank you again. All right. Ms. Willis, I think we are now in a position to move to a closed session. Is there anything else you want to get on the record before we excuse the media and anyone else who's been here, making sure that this public proceeding moves as smoothly as it did?
1 second, Your Honor. Mr. Royals, may I see you? No, Your Honor.
Okay. Well, thank you again, everyone, for making this work as smoothly as it did. It's just before noon, and that's a few hours before we thought we'd be at this point. I'm going to end the Zoom feed, and we will go into a closed session for this